Hello everyone, welcome to my kitchen. Today I want to show you how to make a front door wreath. What you're going to need is you're going to need an oasis ring. This ring is about 16 inches wide. I happen to have a turntable, but it's not a requirement, but it just makes life so much easier for you. You'll need a pair of scissors. I happen to have a pair of flower arranging scissors, but ordinary kitchen scissors will be fine too. I have got some florist's wire, I've got some garden twine, I've got a selection of pine cones which I gathered locally from a forest. I've got some cinnamon sticks which are just the smell of Christmas, and I've also got some orange slices. Now these are commercially available, but you can also dry your own. Just you need to thinly slice an orange and put them in a very, very cool oven. The other thing you'll need is a variety of foliage. Now the vast majority of foliage I'm using is from my garden, and I cut it last night and it's been soaking in a basin of water since then. That's called conditioning foliage, and you need to do that to ensure that all the cells in the plant are turgid or full of water, because they've got to last a long time off the plant. Whenever you finish with your wreath, this is a great circle here which can be used again, and I'm going to use this one here, one from last year. This is a 9-inch ring and it's to be used for a table centre. I'm reusing it again because the oasis was full of holes, and what I've just simply done is simply cut a block of oasis down, and I'm using pop tape then just to fix it into position, and lo and behold I have another ring ready to use this year. I'll just leave that over there for the moment. Oasis, please buy it from your local florist or a garden centre. If you buy it from your local florist, you'll probably be able to buy one. You can also get them online. If you buy them online, they will come as a pair. So that means you'll do one for yourself and you'll do one to give away as a present. Oasis, when it is dry, is this pale green colour. When it's got a little bit of water in it, it goes a dark green colour. This is where I just happen to have some wet sitting on it. All you do is fill your sink with water and just place it into the sink. You'll see bubbles of water coming up as it sucks in the water, and then you just slowly turn it round. Just remember that whenever you've got a lot of water in this, it will be quite heavy. I've got one I just soaked earlier, and just to help with the preparation, I've also added some fir and compresses into this oasis. One foliage that I don't actually have in my garden, which I think you have to have for Christmas, is the noble fir or blue fir. This could be an offcut from your Christmas tree. Again, just the scent of it, it reminds you of Christmas. So what you need to do is to take small bits of this. And now if you try to put that into your oasis, it wouldn't go because you've got all these little pine needles. So all you have to do is take your finger and thumb and strip it. Okay, so you get a stem. The other thing is that stem is actually quite fat. So what you need to do is simply cut it at an angle, in theory 45 degrees, but I'm not going to come with a protractor and check it for you. What happens is that gives you a greater surface area for the stem to take up water from the ring, and it also gives you a point to allow you to get this into the oasis. Now if it's going to be a door wreath, what you need to do is that you need to put the oasis in quite firmly, because otherwise it's dry. It's quite still today, but in a very windy day you'll find you'll have foliage all around your front door. I was just looking at a Christmas quiz last night, and they were saying that pine needles are actually full of vitamin C, but not that I plan to be eating them or anything. But there's a bit of trivia maybe for a Christmas quiz. I'm just going to leave that for the moment and use it in another arrangement. Because I've got lots of fluffy foliage, I want to have a contrast in foliage. So what I'm going to use now is Skimmia japonica rubella. Rubella as in the disease rubella, German measles. I've chosen this because of the rosette of leaves, and the leaves have got are nice and smooth. And the other thing is that this one has little maroon flowers. So whenever you're making a wreath, you want to do the outside and the inside and the front facing as well. So I'm just turning the oasis as I go. And again, I'm cutting these stems at an angle. Any acute angle will do. Now, if you haven't got something like this plant, don't worry, just go and have a little look to see what you can find. In the hedgerows we've got plenty of ivy at this time of year, and we've also got the ivy with the lovely green seed heads. So I'm going to add this into the design. Later on the ivy will actually, the seed heads will actually turn black. Now the other thing is I'm going to use the green ivy leaves because again they're giving it a nice contrast to the rough texture of the cypress and the noble fir. And again, I'm trying not to waste anything here. So just adding these in. Basically what you're looking for are any sort of plant material that has a waxy cuticle to their leaves. Cuticle is just simply the outside skin of the plant. So anything nice and waxy, shiny, will last a long time because it stops the leaves transpiring a lot of water. As you know from my accent that I'm from Northern Ireland, and in Northern Ireland of course we get a lot of rain, but that also encourages the plant growth as well. So we have lots of different foliage in our gardens. My first flower arranging teacher actually said to me, you can always go and buy flowers, but it can actually be difficult to buy foliage. So if you are a flower arranger or thinking about taking up flower arranging, you need to have a garden. Well, at least I think you need to have a garden. I know there are plenty of other people who don't have gardens, but perhaps you have a friend who has a garden, or you never know what you can find in the local hedges. And one good thing about Northern Ireland is you're never very far from the country. Perhaps you have a friend or a daughter or a son who has a garden. So we're just filling this up. I'm making this video because I'm actually going to be doing a few online workshops on how to make a Christmas wreath, and so I thought this would be a good way of just helping my students see what to do, or maybe even learn how not to do it. Something else I'm going to put in is I'm going to put in this shrub here, which looks like holly, but it's not a holly. It's a plant called osmanthus. It is slightly prickly, and I say it looks like holly, but it's not a holly. And although it's slightly prickly, it's not sore on your hands. Using the common holly is really very sore on your hands, and I'm really not into anything that's sore on your hands. Again, this is a variegated plant, and by variegated we mean that it's not all green. This has some yellow as well as the green. If you have variegated plants, what you need to just be very careful about is that an all green part of a plant will be much vigorous than the variegated one, so you will have to cut anything that is all green from a variegated plant out because otherwise the plant will eventually turn all green. Okay, we'll just add a few more stems of this. I love flower arranging. It is one of my passions. I'm qualified as an area demonstrator, and the area is because I belong to the area called NIGFUS. NIGFUS, you'll be able to find all about NIGFUS online via Facebook or even our website. NIGFUS stands for the Northern Ireland Group of Flower Arranging Societies, and whenever the time comes, whenever we get back to whatever normal is, please do think about coming in and joining us if you want to know more about flower arranging. Okay. The other thing now I think we've got is, because we've got lots of fluffy foliage, some smooth foliage, but I also want another type of smooth foliage, so I'm going to add some variegated ivy leaves in. Again, what happens is these will just help your eye just have a little sort of resting place and relax your eye in the design. This ivy is heterocolchicum, and it's actually growing just outside my back door, so it's very handy whenever you need a few ivy leaves and it's cold and it's wet and you don't have to go away down your garden in your welly boots to get some leaves. I'm a member of NIGFUS, so I'm a member of a local flower arranging group, and I'm also a member of our JDS&E. There seems to be a lot of acronyms here. JDS&E stands for, J is for judges, D is for demonstrators, S is for speakers, and E is for educationalists. And educationalists, of course, are just simply teachers. So I'm a teacher by training as well. So I'm just going to hold this up to you so you can see where we are with the design. So we're nearly getting there. There are a few holes. But before I just fill those in, I think this is actually really quite nice, but I'm going to add in some extra bits. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I do actually have a gold bauble here. And the reason why I put a gold bauble there was to show you where my top was. And all it is just simply a bauble with a kebab stick and then some green tape around it. And it is quite robust. So you can actually put baubles into the design. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go au naturel at the moment. But before I do it anymore, I'm going to actually put a hanger on this wreath because it hasn't got one at the moment. And to do that, I have got 2 florist wires, and I'm going to take them about maybe a quarter of the way down and bend them over each other like a hairpin. And then I'm going to twist them so that they don't come apart, and the same on the other side. The reason why I've had to do that is because I need to get something long enough to hang it, and I put it under the wreath, and then I'm just going to do it this exactly the same on the other side. We need to hang it securely, because what you don't want to do is make a beautiful wreath and then come out the next morning when it's been windy and find your wreath in bits on the floor. And then what I've done is I've just simply twisted, I'm not sure you'll be able to see this, I've just sort of twisted the wreath at the top so you've got a little loop for hanging. Okay, I said about pine cones. Pine cones, these were actually taken from a Scots pine tree that's actually in the church that I go to, grounds. To actually wire a pine cone, what you need to do is turn it upside down, take a wire and just simply put the wire in between the bracts, twist it, and then give it a few twists. And then your wrapped pine cone, you can then put it and it will stay in whatever position you want it to go. If it's too long, you can cut off these wires. Personally, I tend to just simply push them up and then put it in. Now, what I want to do is I just want to put my bauble back in there so that I know where it is. So I've got a number of pine cones that I wired earlier, so I'm going to go and add those into the design. And I'm just going to place them very much at random. You could clump them together if you wanted to, but I'm going to put them all the way through the design and have it that way. As a rule of thumb, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they suggest that you should work in odd numbers because that gives you creative tension. Something else I'm going to add into this wreath are cinnamon sticks. Again, working on the rule of 3. I've got 4 here. I'm just going to remove one. Just simply put them together. Take a florist wire, put it around the middle, then put them together and then twist. You need to twist quite firmly because otherwise they'll come apart. But again, to help them stick in position, I like to use twine, garden twine for that, and I just simply take a length and put it over one way and under, over the other way, and then do a snip, and then tie a bow, and this way you'll find that the cinnamon sticks will stay together and the bow then hides the green wire. If you find you've got too much of the twine, you can do a double knot or just simply cut off the excess. Okay, so we'll put that into the design as well. And then I've got a few that I made earlier. The smell of oranges and cinnamon and pine really just says Christmas is coming. I said I was going to go a bit au naturel, so I'm going to use all natural materials, but you could use as much bling as you wanted. I think I'll put the bling in to some of the designs later on. Something else, I've got the orange slices, and you just simply take a stitch and stitch one way, stitch the other way. You can get it through, and then a little twist, and that's them sorted. So we just simply put that into the design as well. Again, I've got a few that I did earlier. Wow. Well, I'm thinking this is starting to look really festive. And again, just make sure they're well into the oasis because you don't want them coming out. And do I want one in there? No, I don't think I do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I don't have that. I think I'll leave this one down here actually because I'm putting the bow up there. Okay, so there is nearly my wreath finished. What I want to do is I want to make a bow. And to make a bow, all you do is to take some ribbon and you make a little collar. Now let's see if I can do this back to front. So yes, you make a little collar like this, and then what you do is you bring the back to the front and then you pinch it together and you take a bit of florist wire and you twist it around, and there's your bow. Last year I actually didn't use my bow at all for my wreath. I just left my wreath like that. You could put a bow at the side. You could, if you have a longer bow, put it just at the bottom, or the traditional way would be to put it in at the top. I'm going to do that with this one. And the other thing I've done is, again, I've cut those in the ends into points. So there I have my Christmas wreath. I'm just going to hang it. On my door. Now at this stage maybe you also want to have another look at it and see if you've got a few holes and just add a few more bits and bobs into the Christmas wreath. Now, what you can do as well is do a table centre, as I said earlier. So what I've got here is I've got a ring I prepared earlier. It's a 9-inch ring. What I've done is I've actually put the ring onto a board. The reason I have a board there is just simply to protect the table. I've got this little glass dish to sit inside there, and I've got a candle, and because I've got white, I'm using some white birch stars. So they're little just simply stars that have been whitewashed. The reason why I'm using those is because the white coordinates with the white candle, and there we have an arrangement that could go on your Christmas table. I hope you've enjoyed this. See you again for the next one. Bye.